submit. Process began the work in detail. Meeting in the second week of paragraph line meeting to G20 meeting at the end of next year. I mean, IRA that include steering that include national that include major in September. We also have got the meeting in November. There's this like indicating they are willing. So what we will have to partner with or extend so that engagements at community level to canvass community voices. We have got all the 13 engagement groups working with us. There are others that we have identified engagement. Civil 20, we are in a of co-creating the. We've spoken to the department. We have also spoken to the presidency. We are contributing to the concept. But in addition to the summit, C20 shall have an Africa-wide two. They may not necessarily, but we want massive cultural entertainment, including a concert in the month of November. So look, these will include countries. It won't be a uniquely experience. So we feel like looking at those. As C20 then, we were a lot, like you see, interfaith is civil society. There's various civil society. It is civil society. To also in ownership or participate in our work, influence the outcome in terms of content. Those are the things that we are actually going. And yes, we know that everybody was aware that the conflict in society, those are now we hit the ground running and we are ready. So much.
Thank you. Boya banyak. Sebong. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we have one more presenter. Her name is Mandisa. She is from Oxfam International. They are an organization that is, their main work is to prevent and also to fight poverty. And it gives us great pleasure to welcome her. Thank you so much. I also saw on her profile that she's a social justice activist. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the honor to join you today and to speak to you. My name is Mandisa Gyanji. I'm from Oxfam, South Africa. We are part of the Oxfam International Confederation. And as a really global organization that has representation in South Africa, we've sort of been part of the G20 journey. And our preoccupation is how do we begin to facilitate the engagement of those that are pushed to the margins in spaces like the G20. We work to fight inequality and poverty in all its representations and implementations. In South Africa in particular, we are concerned with economic justice and climate justice. And we work with women, small-scale farmers in the Eastern Cape, in Mpumalanga, in Limpopo, in the Western Cape. But we're also very concerned with the extractive industry and mining and how mining impacted communities can be involved in the conversation around what it means to transition just to alternative energy sources. And with the conversation around the G20, as I've said, we're interested in how we begin to address the question of inequality, not only in South Africa, but globally. So inequality within countries, but also inequality between countries. And we were, in the beginning of the conversations around the C20 leadership, Puntlandla will know, we were one of the organizations that wanted to take part. But after reflection on our part, we recognize that our role really is interested in a united civil society. And that is our contribution to the G20 process in South Africa. We've begun to plan what we are calling the G20 roadshows, which will engage women, youth in communities that we work with. So we'll have 2 in the Eastern Cape that will be based in Mthatha and East London, really engaging the plight of small-scale farmers, which are likely and largely women. So engaging on issues of access to land for Black working-class women who are engaging in small-scale and subsistence farming. What does it look like to hear the voices of those people, and what does the G20 moment mean for such? And we are aware of the historical, context of South Africa. I think for us it is important in how we talk about how we build solidarity, to say our solidarity first and foremost needs to be with the people that have been impacted the most by inequality in South Africa. And for Oxfam South Africa, that means working class women for the most part. Working class women who struggle to have access to things as basic as sanitation. How do we feature the voices of those people in the conversation around G20? How do we feature the voices of women in mining impacted communities whose unpaid care work really goes unnoticed? How do we feature the voices of women in mining impacted communities who are impacted by the violence that is happening in those communities? We've heard of countless instances where women fall victim to gender-based violence, sexual violence, and the voices of those women are missing in the conversation on the G20. So as a country that has survived apartheid, someone said earlier in the morning, and as a country that has facilitated a robust civil society participation, our preoccupation as Oxfam South Africa is to say, how do we use this moment to re-galvanize that? To say, how do we hear the voices of the people that are pushed to the margins? What does it mean to say G20 is a global moment, but it's an important moment for South Africa? And how are we, as these engagement groups, how are we really facilitating a G20 moment that doesn't leave anyone behind? And we've built partnership with the different engagements group, the V20, we've built a partnership with the C20, we are working with the W20, and we've begun to engage with the Youth 20 as well, because our interest is to really build a people's G20. And we are hoping that that is the legacy and the gift that as South Africa we give to the G20 forum, that we build a truly people-centered G20. And taking into consideration the current geopolitical moment, right? And the attack on multilateralism. How do we galvanize solidarity across the world, really, among civil society actors? And how do we build a particularly global South voice that will shape conversations around debt and debt justice globally, that will shape conversations around tax and tax justice and how we begin to think about who needs to be paying tax the most, to sustain the development that we are talking about. Because if we want to talk about development, we can't talk about development without considering where does the money to pay for all the development projects that we want to embark on. Where does that money come from? How do we begin to talk about tax justice? But in those conversations, where are the voices of those impacted by inequality? So as Oxfam, everywhere we facilitate engagement of everyday people in policy-making spaces. So we do the same with COP, we do the same with AFD and many other spaces. And this is the gift that we are hoping to contribute to the G20 moment in South Africa. And we're open to partnerships to say when we go to communities to engage, we are happy to partner with IF20. We are happy to partner with any organization and any engagement group that is interested in the true meaning of what not leaving anyone behind could look like in South Africa and in Africa as a whole. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Another round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we have about 30 to our next to lunch. And, I just, as I was sitting here, I thought to myself, in this group, we not only have the 20s, but we also have leaders from interfaith. We also have indigenous leaders. We also have people from civil society. And I think it's a unique opportunity to have the 20s kind of come here and engage. And when I say engage, what I mean is I'm pretty sure there are some who are here who are saying they've never heard about what we do, and the things they've heard today is for the first time. So if you don't mind, please join me up here, bring a chair, and we will invite the people in civil society and the other leaders to ask questions before the break. Yes?